Here we go. We gotta go. You guys could have kept talking. I kept you off there. I gotta cut the tunes. I was jamming, having a good time here. My bones are aching. That's what we were talking about here. But they've already heard enough about that. You guys don't need to listen to my old age blues here. Matt, how's it going? Well, it sounds like everybody's having a fantastic day here. Hopefully, you guys are as well out there in CWTV land out there. Thank you for tuning in. Checkers and Records, BW Sports 1. Check out BWSPORTS1.com. And Matt, you guys got something on Sundays. Right now, you got your racing gear on. You got your racing mic plugged in. But Sundays, you unplug that. You flip it over. Tell them what you got going on Sundays. There you go. From the races to the bases. You don't want to miss it, guys. Tune in Sunday. It's going to be a good one. Maybe you could learn something. Hey, isn't that right? Well, you were telling. That's what I was going to say. That was my lead-in right there. We've got a special guest here, the NASCAR analyst to BW Sports 1 and Checkers and Records, our NASCAR expert, none other than Mr. Kyle Westwood. How's it going? Look at that. So nice. He acts so nice there. How are you doing, Kyle? Fantastic. What a weekend it was. Next Gen out at Martinsville, and we sent Kyle out there. We flew him out there. We had him all jacked up. He had a suite ready, but instead he decides to take Dalton with him. We said, no, Dalton. If you're going, we don't want that. But instead he takes your dad's fine. He likes the dead. But so he takes Dalton, and he does it all on his own expense here. But thank you, Kyle, for doing that. What a weekend it was. A little more of a boring race, would you say?
But I'm glad I was there at least for the first next gen race. I think they got some bugs they got to work out, but I'm hoping the next time they get there, it'll be a little more entertaining.
Absolutely. And you know what? I feel bad because I just got you guys going on The Voice. So real quick, we're going to rewind it. Matt, Sunday, from the races to the bases, just a bit outside, 11 a.m. Check him out. Kyle just got back from Martinsville, and that's what we're talking about right now. We summed that up pretty quick.
They heard none of that.
Not that you guys were saying, just my response to that. So it's like a normal day here, just me talking to the wall, you know?
I mean, isn't that normally how our shows go? Like, there's always something like involving us and a wall. It's usually me talking like I am a wall. So
yeah, us hitting a wall and something. Yeah, it usually does come out to the wall though. But yeah, absolutely. But my question to you, and Matt, I don't know how much of the Martinsville race you got to see. Compare it to, because you were there for maybe not the truck race, but you were there for the Xfinity, correct? I was talking Kyle, Earth Kyle.
I was saying Kyle.
Earth Kyle.
You said Matt, and I was like, I didn't know you were there. You never even told me you were going.
No, that was bad communication on my part.
No, we came in on Friday like afternoon, evening. So we made it for the Xfinity race, which ended up being the much better race.
Gotcha.
That was a good one. That one was a lot of fun to see.
So that's, I guess then that is my question is the next gen. You've got that, and then you've got Xfinity putting out a good show in an older package. So, I mean, do you think, I hate to say it, and obviously I'm sure NASCAR has said, guys, we got to woe this back, because Martinsville used to be one of our, that was really, like, when I went last year, that kind of sparked my love for NASCAR again. Because going to Martinsville, seeing a race live there, it's absolutely incredible. I don't think there's really many tracks that are like that, can actually capture so much, and you see it all happening in front of you. So to kind of take that car, which is made, Vegas, which is made Auto Club, some of those a little more interesting, but really took what you had and kind of doled it back, kind of took it back there, kind of maybe 2 steps forward, 1 step back on the short track end. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's funny because I can honestly say that I've seen what I feel to be the best race that I've ever seen live there, and I've also seen now probably what I consider to be the worst race that I've ever seen live there. All in a matter of a couple of years. We were there for the 2014-2015 race. Can't remember exactly what year. The one Gordon got his final win, and that was the race where there was
15.
15. Yes, Gordon got his final win. Kozlowski, or I'm sorry, not Kozlowski. Logano and Kenseth had their little moment. Never seen a
Their
place
little
erupt like
moment.
that.
Their little moment. Yeah,
But-
exactly.
Anyway, so every race at Martinsville that I've seen after that, I always compare it to that one. And I don't think I'll ever see one quite that good, but I've seen a bunch of good ones at Martinsville. But yeah, this last week, compare it to that one. Got to say, the Xfinity definitely put on the better show. And I know after the Cup race on Saturday night, a lot of guys used the excuse that it was too cold, rubber wasn't being laid down on the track, and they said they believe that contributed to a lot of it. But to be honest, it was the same exact temperature on Friday night, and rubber was not being laid down for the Xfinity race either. So I don't know how much of that actually played into that whole thing. On Friday night, they were still able to pass, but I also think the part of the excitement on Friday night is the Xfinity field is stacked with like kids up and coming, not really knowing what they're doing. A lot of them, it's their first time at Martinsville, so everybody was just kind of running over everybody. Had a lot of restarts, a lot of opportunities for passing. Saturday, I think everybody's just, it's almost like they're too professional. Everybody really knows what they're doing there. Everybody's giving each other breaks, giving each other room. Even when it did get crazy, it was kind of tame. So I think a lot of it just kind of stems, I think, to the professionalism and like the level of confidence that they have.
Or do you
Well,
think
can I ask
that's
you a
part?
question?
Or go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. So were you there? Did you stick around Friday night for the punch that was heard around the world?
Oh yeah, I got
Okay.
Oh, he's
I
got
don't know
some
if you
good
saw it.
video
I
of it.
shared it on Discord. I got a video from the grandstands. of
Okay.
it. Yeah,
I was just
you
curious.
kind of feel it was coming, mainly because Ty was ramming Sam Mayer on the cooldown lap,
Yeah.
and going down pit road. I don't know if they showed it on the broadcast, but I think I got it on the video. There's a moment where Ty slams into the back of the one car, and there's an official standing in front of the one car, telling the one car like where to stop, and Ty comes swooping in, like slams into the back of him, and just about pushes that car into the official. And I don't know if you guys saw it today, but Ty Gibbs got a $15,000 penalty for his post-race actions because of what he did there on pit road.
And you know he got a stern talking to from old Grandpa.
Yeah, I just want to know if Grandpa's paying that fine or if he's like, you did it to yourself.
Oh, that would be on you. If I was Grandpa in that one, it's like, hey man, I gotta answer to the sponsors. Your pocketbook's gonna answer to that one. I signed the check. I know what you make. You'll be all right. You know.
Personally, I don't think I'd be asking Grandpa to pay that one because I'd be a little embarrassed.
Right? Especially after throwing a punch with your helmet on.
Yeah. Yes.
You gotta take it off, and that's what was the I can't think of the other dude's name right now. Help me
Sam
out.
Mayer?
Sam Mayer, yeah. He's over there telling him, take your helmet off. Take your helmet off. You can see him take your helmet off, and he won't do it.
Well, you could see him. He takes the moment. You can see he gets out of the car and he's heated, but he takes the moment to walk back to the car and unbuckle his helmet before he walks over to Ty. So, like, you can almost think, like, you could see it going through his brain that he's got to take this helmet off or else he's going to look like a you-know-what.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We'll call those Kyles. We'll call those Kyles.
Well, no. Why did I say yeah?
Yeah. That's awesome. That's fantastic.
I was agreeing to the previous statement.
Hey.
Boom, got him. Got him.
Did you break a track record for hot dogs 8?
No, I had 3. Three. Only for one reason. I was afraid if I went overboard, it'd be middle of the race and I'd have to get up.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying.
They'll get you. The Martinsville hot dogs. They're red. I mean, they're red. I don't know. I wish like everybody. I guess we got the tenderloin here. Like you could say maybe, IMS with the tenderloin will get you. We'll have to, because Kyle's coming to the 500. He doesn't know this officially yet, but he is. He's coming to the 500.
Are you flying me in there too?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got you taken care of. Yeah, again, same stipulations with Dalton though. Same stipulations, same there.
Paying his own air travel. We're good.
Okay, yeah. Well, housing's not free for him. So, but yeah, like you got your tenderloin here. What other tracks that you can think of? Like, do they have these these famous? Is there anything that you can think of? Go ahead, Matt. I see you. You're
Eldora.
I got
seriously. No,
I got you on this one.
Eldora Speedway. No joke. If I can find a picture here on my phone, which I know I have, they have these like. Have you ever been to Cracker Barrel? They have like the chicken fried chicken and whatnot. They have like this chicken fried pork tenderloin. I swear, dude, like this thing is probably about this big around.
Oh, when you said tenderloin, yeah,
$6.
I expect it to be the size of my computer
$6.
screen. Okay.
$6. Like it's worth it.
I'm not necessarily like it. Don't have to be a cheap. Like I'll pay for a good meal at a park, but I will say like when it comes to value, your $2 Martinsville hot dog. Did you know it wasn't going to be able to use your card on there, Kyle? Did you have some cash?
Yeah, surprisingly. But I'm the type of person, if I have cash in my wallet, it's in there for months because I never use it. And often I go in there and I'm surprised that I have cash. So when I walked up to this, I did actually happen to have I think it was like a $10 bill on me.
So
I put it all towards the hot dogs.
Oh, so you did give Dalton or your dad something too?
No.
Well, you said there's no tax. It's a $2 hot dog. You got $4 left. What'd you do with the $4? I'm on my math game today, bud.
Well, my bluff, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I had $4 left.
Exactly. Right. And now he's got it in his wallet because he ain't ever going to spend it. No, but I don't know. I think NASCAR, and obviously I think they will before they go back there because I think even Richmond was a kind of, I'm not going to say a snooze fest, and you didn't expect much out of Richmond, but I still think
Richmond was kind of, most of that race wasn't good until the end. Because that was started to pick up there. They
really said that this package was going to improve the short track racing, and obviously
that was the idea.
with the mile and a half, so you got a lot of those coming up. You got a big string of those. So I think we're about to get some really good racing coming up. But I think on top of that, though, another kind of first here. We're heading to the dirt on Bristol. They changed the banking there. I don't know how much that's going to affect everything. Matt, what's your opinion on the new banking there, and how much do you know there about that banking? Because I don't know the specifics, honestly.
They made it a little bit more so it wasn't as much of a transition as it was from the normal NASCAR surface down to what the regular apron is. It's a little bit more progressive to make the racing better. I think with the new cars, it's going to be a little bit different. Late model, they just did the late model race down there. We talked about it last week, and it looked like it was pretty decent racing down there. You can compare them a little bit. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. It looks like during the test that the car was actually sliding around a little bit more than what it was last year. So I think that's gonna be a big factor. Now I saw they possibly talked about taking the windshields out, so that could really be a game changer as well.
They went back on that.
Did they? I wasn't sure.
They're gonna stick with the windshield this year.
Well, see, that's why Kyle's our NASCAR expert.
As long as it's not muddy, though. Like the first day that they got out there last year, it was bad, and those guys were really having trouble seeing. But then, come race time, I think it was more dirt than it was mud.
More the dust, yeah.
Right. So it didn't turn out too bad overall. So I think that as long as they can keep that track really at hand at bay. And not get it too wet, and hope that the elements are working for you, then it'll be all right. I think he thinks it's going to be muddy, and it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they learned a lot from last year, so we'll see what they do to kind of counteract that this year.
So you got some guys that are what was I'm trying to think. So do you think this was a question that they brought up on the broadcast there with Clint and Chad, I think, and they were talking, and they were saying, do you think that Stewart's team will, or Harvick, those guys, outside of Briscoe will get a win before Chase does. And I think a lot of those guys were kind of putting their eggs in Chase's basket there. What do you think on that one? Without seeing Chase have a win yet, I think a lot of people thought he would have a
Chase
win.
Elliott.
Well, yeah, absolutely. What other Chase in the
gotcha.
world would I be talking about? Oh, Briscoe, I guess.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say, and he's on Stuart Haas. That's why I was
yeah,
getting confused. I was like, you do know he has a win, right?
yeah, that's what I said though on Stuart Haas without Chase there. So, but yes, going then to against Chase Elliott. Who do you think kind of is going to take that? Because now we've seen a two-time winner in Hendricks with Byron after the Martinsville win. So obviously
He's the only
Hendricks,
two-time winner this season.
right? And Hendricks firing on all cylinders right now. It seems to be, and we're seeing Chase and I'm going to be honest, we're seeing Larson kind of drop back a little bit here. So what's your take on that? Because I don't think anybody looking into this season would have said that William and Alex were going to be sitting as nice as they are right now, compared to those two at least.
So I got two different answers for both of them. With Larson, I don't think much has changed team-wise, chemistry-wise on that team. I think that just kind of might be learning the new car.
Sure.
Maybe the next gen kind of slowing him down a little bit. When it comes to Chase, though, we've seen this a little bit last year as well. I think he lucked into, well, not really lucked into, but I believe his only wins last year were on road courses. And the rest of the year, we didn't see him running too strong. And we're kind of seeing that again this year. So I'm thinking with Chase, I'm kind of thinking their problem kind of stems between like chemistry on the team. Maybe he's not getting getting along well with the crew chief or some other aspect there. But I don't think Chase's problem is the new car. I just think we're seeing a lot of what we did last year. But when it comes to Larson, I think it's just kind of maybe learning the new car. I think a lot of it's kind of, like I said, just it's a different feel. I think it's more challenging to drive, and it's kind of hard to say that's the reason Larson's not doing well, because we see him do well in anything he drives. So I'm kind of torn on that, but like I said, I'm thinking we're gonna see all of Hendrick Motorsports firing off well here in the next couple weeks.
Is it something that you see maybe they do make a change? Matt, what do you think? Does the 9 crew make a change? Do they do something this early, or do they kind of try to let it work itself out right now?
I think it's too early to make a change. I think they're just going to work itself out and hope for the best. I mean, right now, if you would have told me we're however many races in and we've only had one repeat winner at this point, I would have laughed at you. Because usually the cream always rises to the top. So they've been running great too. It's not like Elliott's been like a back marker or middle of the pack guy. He's been up front. All of Hendrick has been up front. It just hasn't gotten that win like he was at this point last year. So I think a change is too premature. I think they'll get one here. And once they get one, it's just going to knock off a string of wins for him and for everybody else. And same with Larson. I mean, I know Larson won 10 times last year. All it's going to take is one more for him, and it's just going to be another Hendrick show like it was for last year.
Who do you think gets a win first then? Do you think Harvick does collect a win before you see Chase Elliott? Kyle,
no, I think
it's a hard no on Kyle over there.
No, I think Chase gets one before Harvick, but I do think Harvick wins this year. I think Elliott's going to be the guy to look at here over the next couple of weeks of getting a win, and then Harvick's going to get one, not probably too far after him.
Kyle, I mean, the way you're shaking your head, I'm questioning, do you even think Harvick's going to get a win? Because I do this year. He's been right there. He's been doing solid, I think.
I think we're starting to see the downfall of Kevin Harvick, just like we did with Stewart, just like we did with Johnson, just like we saw it with Gordon too. Gordon kind of lucked into his final win at Martinsville there. But I mean, right before that, the year or two leading up to his final season, we weren't seeing Gordon run too well. So I kind of think we're finally seeing that. I was wondering when it was going to happen, but I think we're starting to see that now with Harvick. I think Harvick's in his final few seasons here, and I'd hate to say it, I don't see him getting any other wins unless it's like a lucky situation that he just happens to find himself in.
And see, I find it hard to say that, especially with his knowledge of the sport, with his experience in there, that with as well as he's doing right now, he won't get up in there and make something happen. But
Didn't we say that with Stuart Gordon Johnson too, though?
Gordon got his. Gordon, when Gordon won
That was a
Martinsville,
lucked into one, though.
Hey! When Gordon got that win, everybody kind of said this could be it. This could be that.
And then they sucked at Homestead.
So,
Hey, Kyle.
What?
I just want to point out, though, I mean, to your point about this is the end for Harvick at this point, and what you think is the difference between what he's doing this year and what Tony and Gordon and Johnson did was Harvick's been running in the top 5, top 10, and has been right there in every race. So I mean, it's not like Tony. Let's face it. Other than Sonoma, he really wasn't a factor in too many races for majority of that season. So I think the difference is Harvick is still capable of winning. I mean, I'm not saying those guys weren't, but he's there. Like, he's right there.
Like I said, I think he's in that transition where you're starting to see Harvick going from contending for wins every week. He's in that small window where you're starting to see him contend for top 5s and top 10s now.
Yeah.
And I think what's next is what happens to all of them. You're going to see him barely hanging on to top 15s, struggling for those top 10s. I could be wrong, because there was a couple times in Gordon's career, like there was some times in, I think it was 2008, 2009, Gordon was going like winless for 2 seasons, or really close to being 2 seasons, and then he kind of made a little bit of a comeback. So maybe we're just seeing a little window where Harvick's off, and maybe he'll come back for one last little spurt. I don't really know. But at his age, in my head, I'm thinking this is probably close to the end.
I could see that. I see what you're saying there. So it'll be interesting to see. So I guess now I'm not going to play this across the entire board, but another guy that we see up there in the mix of it all yet to get a win, the number 12. What do you think about Ryan Blaney? What do you think? Do you think he's going to get into that victory circle maybe before Chase Elliott?
Yeah. Matt, you want to go first, or?
Oh, you can go first.
All right. So I know Clint's been talking. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the broadcasts on Saturdays and Sundays.
I love Clint in the booth. I think he is fantastic.
Yeah. Clint's been talking about this a lot, and I completely agree with him. I don't think anybody's caught on to this next-gen car better than Ryan Blaney has. And I know he doesn't have the win yet to back it up.
He's got bad luck in races.
Yes, but he is running the most consistent races, and always up front, always qualifying up front at pretty much every track they've run at this year. So I agree with Clint there. I think Blaney is the most consistent driver when it comes to this new car so far, and it's only a matter of time before he clicks off that win. And I could see him getting another. I think last year he had 3. Granted, one or 2 of them were plate tracks, but I think we'll see another season where Blaney clicks off 3, maybe 4 wins.
I think we could see a season here if he does catch that fire and catches some luck, because I think that is a big part, because he's been stuck in a lot of other people's garbage, if you will. So if he catches fire at the right time, I wouldn't. If I'm the rest of the field after that July 4th race, if he's starting to get his wins, then I'm a little nervous that Penske team's gonna really end up taking that title, because, like you said, I think Blaney, he's on top of it right now. It doesn't show points wise, but he definitely has this car somewhat figured out, more so than the others. And I think he's at that age, and his that age just overall, that this is the time. I think he knows it. We all see it. It's that make or break age. So he could go over that peak if he takes that title, or he could kind of plateau here and not have a bad career, but end up kind of just riding that out. And I think that title would really take him over that, and he would be, with a little momentum, just dangerous. Matt, do you agree with that?
I don't know if 3 or 4 wins is realistic for him this year, to be honest with you. And it's not because I think he's a bad driver. I agree with Kyle. He is probably the most consistent when it comes to this car, but that pit crew just seems to be missing somewhere when it comes to the critical stop. And again, I think this is where I go back to the whole Chase Elliott thing. Once we see Chase Elliott win, when his pit crew and them gel with this new car, he's just going to start knocking off win after win after win. I could see 1 or 2 wins. I don't know if 3 or 4 is going to be realistic for him, but yes to you, if he starts getting those wins, even if it's 1 or 2 after July 4th, look out, because the summer stretch is always the best stretch, and that's usually where guys can make or break on if they're making a playoff run or not.
Right.
And if he can come out in the summer, especially in, like from July to August, and just be super fast, get his couple wins, like he might be a threat just to be consistent to get to that Final Four like Newman did that one year. No, didn't have those wins, but he was there. He was consistent. So 3 or 4 wins, I can't see it. I can see 1 or 2, but yeah, if summer months is where it's going to be make or break for him.
Hey, pull the old Kenseth.
Yeah.
Kenseth. No win championship series, you know?
Well, we saw Newman almost do it that year, but
Yeah.
he was second chasing down Harvick there. I think a few more laps, he might have had that thing.
He did get second that year, didn't he? See, I thought he ended up finishing.
He almost,
yeah.
He was there. He was within, if I remember correctly, he was within a second of
So,
Harvick at the end
and I
of that
think
race.
that really is the thing. If you catch fire now, good for you. But I don't think now's the time to be catching fire. I think, you really want to do that kind of like we were saying early in that summer run, because that's really where did Larson really kick that into hyperdrive last year. It was right around that.
Whole year with him.
Well, you saw it, but he really collected some solid wins
I know what you mean.
in that summer month, that summer spread. Yeah. So I think that's going to be a huge thing to watch for. And I think the rest of the field should take notice if Blaney is to jump up and make that happen. Is there anybody that sticks out to you guys as a top dog here this week at Bristol? You're going to the dirt. Logano, you win your first one, but now you got a completely new package. He is a winner with this car this year. So I mean, what do you think? Does Logano have a chance to repeat on the dirt, or do you think somebody else takes it here? Or is it too early to tell? Do you guys have to see something here? We'll go with Matt. What do you think?
So, if we're talking about the pure ability of driving the car and what the car is supposed to be, it's supposed to be manhandled. This is the type of race where maybe not even like a Kyle Larson, but even a Chase Briscoe who's good on dirt. He's been good on dirt over his career. Tyler Reddick came from dirt. I think a guy maybe like Kyle Busch could sneak in. I'm not saying as a Kyle Busch fan, but a guy that can drive the race car. But like Martin Truex Jr., I think he might be a guy that should be at the top of a lot of people's list. What he did last year in the truck series, not really ever driving in the truck on dirt, different ball game. Look what he did in that race. So I don't know if anybody really stands out. You could say like the dirt regulars do, but the way this new car is, it's who's going to be able to manhandle the car the best, and it's going to come down to like who's been really good, I think, in the late model ranks on dirt. And this is where your guys like Tyler Reddick, your Chase Briscoes, who's ran dirt before, and Kyle Busch has ran really good in dirt late models over the years. So
Aaron Wrench in the comments, he's coming out quick. He's saying C Bell. He's going to C Bell here.
Honestly, I'm not confident in C Bell. Just the struggles that he's having right now in that car, and just like they're not gelling. I could see it, but I just don't see it. Like if anybody from the Gibbs organization would steal the win, it'd be Truex. That's my personal opinion on that one.
Kyle, who's
last week? Bell had Bell was the best of the Gibbs cars last week. He was a consistent top 5 runner at Martinsville, but I think that was the first time we saw him this season, outrunning his teammates.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see what you're saying there.
That's exactly what Aaron says the same thing. He must be a C-Bell fan. He's out there like, whoa, you whoa down on C-Bell, okay? You whoa it down. We'll go to Ziploc up here. Ziploc, what do you think?
Oh, my snacks, leave me alone. A year ago, I would have said that it was going to be Bell and Larson. And if this was the first year that we were running this dirt track, I would have said it was also going to be Bell or Larson. But last year, we saw Bell and Larson running fairly well last year in that car. And none of them. I don't think either of them really had the speed to win that race. Ultimately, they ended up getting into a wreck, but even leading up to that, you weren't really seeing them competing for the lead or anything. So, obviously, I don't think the feel of a dirt car transfers over to these stock cars. So I'm still not really expecting much from Bell or Larson in this race. I think they'll run all right, but I don't think we're going to see like that dirt dominance that we're used to seeing with those two. I was actually just looking at the entry list, surprised to see that there's no dirt ringers in the field for the Cup race.
Sure, there is.
Who?
Kyle Larson,
Okay.
big one.
I'm
He's a big one. No,
I'm saying
I know
like
what you're
a
saying.
driver
Though. Yeah.
brought in. Like I thought we'd see like Stuart Friesen or somebody taking a seat here. But it's just the typical guys that have been running this season. It looks like with the addition of Noah Gragson and Justin Allgaier. So honestly, I'm gonna go back to a lot of what happened last year. I do agree with Matt. I think you're gonna see Martin Truex Jr. do pretty well in this. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and kind of say you're going to see Ross Chastain and Tyler Reddick kind of. I have just a funny feeling watching them run last year, watching them handle this new car. They're doing well at every style of track that we've gone to so far, and I know dirt's different, but I'm going to say it's going to come down to one of those two.
You're waiting for that Reddick win, aren't you?
Oh, I am.
Big time. Big time he is. If I had to put...
He gets one this year.
I'm not going to disagree with that, but if I had to put two guys on the board, I think mine's going to be a previous winner already this year, and that's Alex Bowman. I think he showed himself that not only, and I get what you're saying about the dirt, but he's really grown in his dirt game, his dirt racing, running there. Excuse me. But if I go to a second, we just spoke about this guy here. And it's hard not to say Ryan Blaney's not going to be up in the front here this weekend. I think he's really going to have a solid run. And this is something he enjoys himself. I think this is going to be a lot of fun for him. So I wouldn't be just surprised to see him if he can keep his luck. But as you were saying, as far as Truex, I could see Truex kind of being that guy to sneak in there. I thought he was going to be that guy to collect another grandfather clock because at the beginning of that race, it was really looking like he was really kind of falling in line and getting to where he needed to be, but just the cards didn't stack up for him at all. But I think he's knocking on that door now. So it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, if Blaney can stay clean and out of everybody else's, I'm going to say garbage to keep it clean here. But if he can stay out of that garbage, then I think he'll take it. If his luck continues, then no, right? Because it's going to be a bad one. Because we saw there last year, one guy wrecks. It's not just one guy wrecking. Like there's going to be a few guys that are caught up in that. These guys aren't used to braking on dirt. They're not used to woeing that down. So they're coming in a little hot, like a Matt Constant cautions. So. It gets a little.
I hope he's watching.
It gets a little worried. I doubt he is. It gets a little worrisome though.
So can I just, to Kyle's point, you said about you can't really compare like dirt racing to what the Cup cars are now. You kind of can with the late models. So like in the late models, they're heavier, they're wider. You have to really drive the cars, and it's all about that throttle control. I think the car this year now for NASCAR, this next gen car, it's the same concept. You're going to have to really drive the car. You're going to have to really control a slide. You're going to have to really use the throttle to get into it. And that's where I think these guys that are really good in a late model on dirt are going to have a little bit of advantage. And I know Kyle Larson runs dirt late model. He just ran Sunday up at Port Royal, and I think he wrecked racing for second or whatever. So, or the lead or somewhere. He was in the top 3 at the time. So last year, you could make the argument, like, if you ran dirt, it didn't matter. Obviously, Joey Logano proved it. So I think this year it's a little bit different. I think the guys that had a little bit of experience driving the late models or even being in that prelude to the dream race over the years at Eldora, the cars are going to be the same or going to feel the same as what the dirt late models are. And I know you can't compare apples to oranges, but I think that mentality is going to help a lot for this race. And if you can avoid all the carnage that might happen. Like, you will have anybody will have a chance. It's just, I think the guys that know how to really manhandle a late model on dirt is who the advantage is going to be when it comes to making a pick for the race on Sunday.
So it'll be interesting to see. Aaron Wrench saying Austin Dillon's going to be his dark horse there. So I could see Dillon coming up. I think he's due for a good one here. So it'll be interesting to see. Kyle, anything else you want to add towards the NASCAR? Appreciate you coming on, having a good time with us here.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
He says anytime, but then he we won't go on.
Honestly, I think we covered it. I think we're good. I did like Aaron's little point here on Austin Dillon. He surprised me this last week. I thought for sure he was going to be sneaking one out there at the end of that race. And he kind of came out of nowhere. Like, he was running well that race, but I was not expecting him to be up there competing for that win at the end. So I kind of like the trend of RCR doing the best that we've seen them doing in years, and I do hope that continues.
It'll be a fun one to watch. Again, Kyle, thank you so much for coming on and having a good time with us and being our pincushion. It's always
Thanks, Kyle.
It's always a good time. I don't remember what you said yes to earlier, but that was always good. I love setting you up. I love getting you. What's going on, Mr. Ramsey? Kyle, we'll let you have some fun. I'm sure I'll talk to you here in just a little bit.
Sounds good. All right, see you guys. Thanks.
Adios. And here we go. We go back to the fun of it, excitement, just the source and I, the dog, and the rest of the world here. Matt.
Dog's not with me right now, so we're good.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you good? Are you good?
I don't know. We'll find out here. That's what you ask me next.
Yeah, right. Exactly. This weekend, you got to see a little bit of live action. What'd you run it down? What you were able to check out?
410s at Lincoln Speedway, Abbottstown. Our boy Michael Millard was racing again. Made the A main 43 410 sprint car showed up after the All-Stars rained out in Ohio. So decent racing to start the day. It was cold and it was fast, so there was not much passing until they got to the feature. But man, what a feature that was. Lap traffic played a huge part in that. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain to people if you don't know what Lincoln's like, what their lap traffic can do there, what the racing is like there, even on a fast racetrack. So it was a good time. Just cold, really cold.
Seems to be that's what I meant to ask Kyle, because it seemed to be the MO this weekend. Because Martinsville race was delayed due to wintry mix. It's like, oh, yeah, that sounds miserable. But excuse me here. Sorry about that. But so Michael, he's been doing a solid job. You know, you saw him at first trying to just get his feet wet, trying to really get that experience in there. And it now seems like 3-4 races in, he's really starting to get the feel for it and starting to make those mains already.
Yeah, he actually did pretty well on Saturday. He made it in through the B main. So, again, this was a new format for him. He had a time trial, and then they invert the field, and then you go by your qualifying time if you're not in the top however many cars. And when passing is tough, you're not going to go too far. So, but he did really well. I was impressed to see him do that. I actually talked to him earlier. He was on his stream, so got a nice little bet going with him. I told him now. I mean, I told him before if he wins, he gets a Corona, but top 5 or top 10, I'll shotgun one with him, and if he makes the A main against the Outlaws, I'll buy him a case. So
very nice, very nice. He's putting it out there for him. What a good one there, and loads of dirt tracks already getting underway, and it's fun to see all the local tracks starting to fire up. I know the one close to here. I don't know if the dirt's running yet. The Circle City Raceway, the new one that they are coming here, the World of Outlaws, but I don't know. I think the Speedrome here, the local oval or figure 8, they just got going a few weekends ago, and then the local kart track I race at occasionally. They're opening here this weekend. So that'll be fun if I can check that out. I got 2 Little League games that I got to get to first. We got opening weekend in softball. We got opening weekend in soccer. So it should be a fun little mix here. But hopefully get out, see some local karting. You know, that's always something that'll just be a passion of mine. I love going out to the kart tracks and checking those guys out. I love open wheel. I love, you know, and that's just close, good racing most of the time.
Yeah. Well, so I wanted to show you, see if it shows up here on my feed. I found that picture, right? There's that tenderloin from Eldora, since we're on the topic of dirt. That's how big that thing is.
That's a normal tenderloin here in Indiana.
Right. But yeah, so I'm with you. I enjoy going to the dirt races, not just because it's local, but I mean, I think some of the best talent is in dirt racing. So if you have a dirt track around you or any sort of track, get out and support it. I know you got Flow, you got Dirt Vision, everybody wants to watch on there, but with the weather starting to get nice in most of the areas, like get out and support your local dirt tracks. Get out and support your local asphalt tracks. These little mom and pop teams, buy their t-shirts, do whatever, support them, because without us fans, we're not going to have that type of excitement, and we won't be able to bring these type of conversations to you guys. So,
right, exactly. We saw some excitement there in the IndyCar series. Johnson really getting into it. Did you see he underwent surgery here? It was either yesterday or today to fix that hand, and he's bound and determined. This is something we're going to have to bring Kyle on, being not only the resident NASCAR fan or the expert, he is the resident Jimmy Johnson expert. He's a huge Jimmy Johnson fan, so it'd be interesting to see. I think he says he's coming back in. He's ready. No, he had that surgery, and he really thinks that he has a chance here at the 500 in the one oval left, which is Iowa.
Yeah.
So there's two, but outside of the 500, the one oval. So he really thinks he has a chance at those. And, you know, after seeing him at Texas, we talked about that. I think if he can really get it going, but that hand, now granted, some of these, there's a documentary on maybe Amazon and maybe Netflix. I'm terrible about that. There's a documentary on one of the 1,000 streaming things about the AMSR rescue crew there in the doctors and everything that are involved in that, like how that all came about, stuff like that. Very interesting documentary, and you know you're working with some of the best guys in this rehab. But after that, I'm sure Jimmy's gut just was pitted. Absolutely not to think that, man, I can't race Long Beach. I bet you he could have cared too about that. Now, granted, he toughed it out. He went out there. He did that. I can't imagine how that felt to go around at a track. And then on top of that, be involved in another incident. You know, at that point, he just threw that hand in the air. But I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes. What do you think? Early prediction on Johnson. We'll say, do you think he qualifies in the top 10 for the Indianapolis 500? What do you think there?
Top 10, no, but top 15, yes. He'll be in that 10 to 15 range. I don't think his hand is going to be too much of an issue for him when it comes to the oval side of Indy, because for the most part, he'll be able to rest his hand, I think, a little bit. If depending on how the race goes, he won't have to do much. I don't think he'll have to worry about doing too much shifting. But it looked like I was watching a video of him today with the cast on after surgery or even before surgery and stuff, and he had really good grip on the steering wheel, and he was able to shift really well.
He was the 500. Exactly. He's so determined to get in there and get that 500. Like he's not. The next race is Barber. A lot of guys would probably be practicing Barber. Johnson's over there going, man, I got this one, maybe two chances to get this on. And you could see, he was PO'd, Kyle. You could see, and it was all driver error there. That was so much driver error in the IndyCar race this weekend. Really, the F1 race as well. So open wheel, full of driver error here, but call it knocking some rust off. I don't know, but so what did you say there? Top 10 for qualifications?
For Kyle, or I mean, if you're asking Kyle, but I
Kyle
said
thinks he's
top
going to get the
15.
pole. Top 15.
I-
Okay.
I think top 15. I think anywhere from 10 to 15. I don't know if top 10 is going to be there, but if you're talking about finishing position, I can see a top 10 for sure.
And I mean, right there, you've got Ganassi, some fantastic strategy there. They've been there, they've done that at the 500, so they know exactly what they're doing there. But you've got the experience of Johnson on this oval, and I know it's not the same car. I know it's not the same feeling, anything like that. It really doesn't correlate at all. The Brickyard 400 to the Indianapolis 500, but to a certain extent, you've got the knowledge what it takes to be out there for a long day. It's a long haul there, whether it be the 400 thrown around that car for 400 miles back then, or the 500 now, grueling 500 laps there. 200 laps, 500 miles. But I think as long as that hand is not going to be hindering, as long as everything is there, I think that I'm going to put him in the Fast 9 for qualifications. I think he can do it. Now, here's the one thing, though, and this is what everybody says about Indy. It's not if you hit the wall at Indy, it's when, and you really feel it. Like the first time you hit that wall, it's a feeling. It's something you remember your entire life. It's a breathtaking experience. We'll say it that much. But if he does not do that, you can't see my diecast. Be quiet. If he does not do that, then if he does not hit the wall before the race, I think his confidence is much higher. I think his whole spirit going into that is his whole mindset really a completely different game than if he goes out there in one of these early practices and backs it into the wall pretty hard. He may be questioning, man, do I really want to race this race? Do I really want to do that? And that would pull back that confidence, pull back that momentum, if you will, from a solid run here that we saw at Texas.
Well, here's the difference between Jimmy Johnson and you and I. If you and I would have hand surgery or any sort, we're talking long recovery, and we wouldn't be able to do this because we have to deal with whatever doctors we have.
Right.
They're going to put the best doctors and stuff in him. So even if he does hit the wall, I don't think he's going to be hurting as much as what we think he would. I mean, it's going to hurt no matter what. But
it's more like it's right here in the mind. It's the mind thing.
Yeah, it is.
That can play a huge game with you, I think.
Right, and I think he'll be okay though. I think his confidence going into that should be really high. I mean, we all were pretty high on Alonso when he came over and did was doing what he was on in Indy. So, I could see the Fast 9, but I think it's going to take him a little bit to get used to the format of how the qualifying works, and that's why I have him 10 to 15. But a top 10 run is not out of the question for him.
And you're right there. 4 laps around here, wide open. That takes a couple set of baseballs. So to get that done, it'll be interesting to see. That's something, honestly, that I didn't kind of put into my quick thought there. But I think he can, if he can string it together. I'm going to stick on that idea that if he does not feel the wall before qualifying or the race, then he's going to do really well. But hopefully that is the case, because I really want to see. And I think, a lot of people want to see it to come to fruition, if you will. Whether or not he wins it, I don't think people are huge on. But I think a lot of people would like to see Jimmy Johnson take a top 5 at the Indy 500.
Yeah, I think even a top 10 would be solid for him. As racing fans, we all want to see Jimmy do well, especially on the ovals. And what he did at Texas got everybody talking. We talked about it. Everybody talked about it. So if he would pull off a top 5, I mean, I think you could really put up there that he is capable of running with the best on ovals. So
here's a question now as we transition here. Do you anything else on IndyCar you wanna touch on?
Other than the fact that I almost called the Colton Herta win, no.
Colton Herta. Let's talk about that real quick. Because why are you pushing? Like, sometimes I really question his in-car decision making. You see, he was getting over that bump constantly, and I don't know
Yeah.
how much you saw that, but he
I
kept
saw
hitting the
that.
same bump, kept hitting the same bump. And they were talking about it. It's like maybe Colton found a way to get around this. Eventually, the car was lighter. He got that tire up. It hits the ground. It locks up, and boom, he's into the wall in second place. And you look back, a lot of guys that do that, they might be back at in 10th, maybe 12th. They're pushing really hard. They're not in second place. And this is a common thing for Colton Herta. This is not the first time we've seen Colton Herta take something and nail it off there like he did, sitting in a solid P2. So it's really starting to make me question, make me wonder what Colton Herta is thinking in some of these decisions here. I know they're always talking, oh, Brian Herta's getting his son calmed down in the car. Maybe you need to chill out a little bit. That's I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, we talked last week a preview on that, and I said about I thought Colton Herta would be near the top, and you even brought up about Joseph Newgarden, but I said about Scott McLaughlin was going to struggle a little bit, and I think we saw him struggle for the little bit of the race I saw. He wasn't really a factor, like he's been all the previous weeks. So I think we're starting to see. I used this term earlier, but I think we're starting to see the best cream rise to the top of guys that are the best at IndyCar. I think they're starting to show. You got Newgarden. If Colton can get his stuff together and not be stupid, we're going to see him starting to knock off some wins. Man, like that's so frustrating. That was so frustrating. I saw that he wrecked. I was like, this is crap. I'm not going to use the words I use, but this is crap.
So the one thing, like you said, and this is where we'll end it on the 500 talk right now. It's getting closer to May, and I just get so excited. But we're talking about Joseph Newgarden right now. He's leading the points. He's got 2 wins off the quick run, 1 at a road course, 1 at an oval. Is this Joseph Newgarden's year? He hasn't won the 500 yet. That's the one thing he has not done. He's taken the title. He's got that off his checklist. He's won, I'm not going to say every race, but he's won most of the big ones outside of the Indianapolis 500. Does Joseph Newgarden now take the Indianapolis 500? Is this Joseph Newgarden's year?
I'm going to save that opinion for when we do a Indy 500 preview, because I have a good perspective of that, but I don't want to harp on it too much for this little bit. Like when we get to a point where we're going to do an Indy 500 preview, like that's where I really, really want to talk about my opinion on Newgarden and Indy.
Fair enough. And quickly, just because I don't want to leave everybody just waiting there, I'll give them my answer as of right now. Now this could change because we're gonna talk about this after Barber. We're gonna talk about this after the Indy Road Course. But as of right now, if you're looking down the board, I think Joseph Newgarden is your favorite for the Indianapolis 500 this year. I think hands down. I think he has got it. His momentum is up. He is climbing high. He's feeling good. And Penske, it's looking like 3's the number. Yeah. They've had that 4-car team for so long, and now it's Scott, it's Will, it's Joseph, and man, it's looking like it's working. So
I'll tell you, he's my favorite, but I want everybody to be in suspense when we talk about it in thorough. I really do.
Fair enough. But that's my 2 cents on that. We'll move to the other open wheel for just a bit here, because we had a buddy that was actually at the track right there in that problem corner there as well, where we saw
11
Alonso throwing down a heater, an absolute heater. And that is the luck of Alonso if I've ever seen it. Absolute heater. It looked like he was going to set the pole. It looked like Alonso was going to set the pole. You heard me right. Alonso was going to set the pole. And he ends up having a hydraulic failure. Of all things, like he's not overdriving it. He's not doing anything. He ends up having a hydraulic failure. Can't get it out there and puts it into the wall in Q3. Pretty much ends his run because he didn't get a time down. So 10th is where he started. He had his woes. He had a rough race then. It wasn't good for him, but we did see a turn in the tides for these guys, I don't know if you can tell. Obviously, you don't see a name on here, but if you know racing, you know this color. You know exactly what it is. It's the McLaren team. Taking a turn there finally. It's like they flipped the switch and they said, "Oh, here's the fast button. Let's go fast now." So it's interesting to see McLaren now stepping into it. Aston Martin seems like they are just they haven't scored a point. They are the only team at this point to not score a point. So very interesting because Williams scores one this weekend. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Albon stays out for like 51 laps.
57.
57. There's 58 laps in this race. 58 laps. You got to change compound. We're over here wondering, it's like, is this dude going to pit? Is he just going to take the penalty and just say, screw it? Like, what's going on here? And then they pit him. And he ends up coming out in 10th he beat Joe. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Joe that was right behind him, which not to stick too hard on that, but having a fantastic year of his own in his rookie year. I think Joe showing that he deserves that seat. That maybe him and Valtteri are getting pinged off pretty good here.
Can you repeat that second name for me that you said?
Valtteri.
Can you say it one more time?
Valtteri.
I just want to make sure you are clarifying that that man's been in the top 10 every single week so far.
He's been pretty good. No, not last week because the second race he was he had his issues with the.
But running wise, he's been in the top 10.
It was so devastating to see his Q3 streak gone now. Every year or every race since he joined Mercedes up until the Australian GP, he made Q3. So I want to say it is one of the longest, if not the longest, consecutive Q3 appearances.
Streak.
So very, very solid run there by Mr. Bottas to get it in there. Thank you. I know you're watching there, Valtteri, so thank you for giving us all that fantastic entertainment throughout your career. It's not over yet, though. He's putting down some solid runs. And, I think after this next race here, I want to say it's a Imola. We'll have to get together and kind of do a recap of our picks and where we think it's going to go through the season. Because I'll tell you what, I don't think either of us thought Aston Martin was going to be this bad. I don't think.
Yeah, we did.
We this bad. We thought Williams and Alfa Romeo were going to be at the bottom too.
No, between you, Scott, and I was the only one that had of Alpha in the top 10 of my rankings.
Okay,
that was Bottas.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. But I think team-wise,
they were at the bottom.
You thought that Aston Martin would have been a little better. Yeah. So it's interesting to see huge woes there. One of the funniest moments in F1 history that I've seen, at least, Charles Leclerc out in front, just completely bored of this race at this point. He is so far ahead. He wants nothing to do with it. You can hear him, and he goes, "Can I go for the fastest lap?" They're like, "No, dude, you already got it. Like, don't worry, just drive the car." Yeah. He comes back about 3 laps later. He's like, "Are you sure I can't go for the fastest lap?" Sounds like a little kid. And they're like, "No, like absolutely, yeah, we are positive that you can't. Number one, you're going to lose a spot for coming in and getting tires. Number two, you already got it. Nobody's going to go faster than you. Like, we're pretty darn sure about this at this time." and number three, if we tell you to go faster at this moment, we've seen what could happen. You could put it into a wall, and we ain't willing to risk that at this moment. So he comes across the engineer much more nice than I was right there. He simply just says, no, it's not happening, Charles. You're the fastest one out there. We don't think we can even improve it. So Charles Leclerc comes back. He's like, okay. You could just hear he was going to come back at his engineer. He was going to say, yeah, I got this. But I think at that moment, he thought of Monaco qualifying last year. And he's like, yep, okay, fair enough. You guys got me on this one. Thanks for looking out, because I was about to push. But he fastest on race day, fastest to qualify, fastest around, led all the race, and got the win there. So what do they call it? A grand slam in the F1 world. So they say that the drivers to get grand slams in the season are the ones that typically take the championship. So I think everybody has their eyes set on Charles Leclerc, obviously, as he starts to really improve his lead. The question, though, not so much is how good is Ferrari right now, is how unreliable is Red Bull. Verstappen with his second of third DNF. Perez, in the meantime, sitting P2, baby. He's sitting pretty Perez. Is Perez going to take a shot? 2 questions for you. How reliable is Red Bull? Number 2, how long will it be until Red Bull, if this stays like this, if Perez keeps climbing and Verstappen's not climbing up to get him, how long do they say Verstappen this year is number 1 and they keep him going there? Is it the entire year? Because obviously you don't want Verstappen to finish out of the top 3. Verstappen has that clause in his contract that if he finishes outside the top 3, then he can bounce. So Mercedes would be calling you, every phone would be every principal would be ringing his phone. So how long do they? Does it last the whole season that they keep Perez and say, hey, dude, just keep doing what you're doing, but if he gets up there, let's keep that in mind that he's still number 1. You know what I'm saying?
So I don't think that they're going to pull the reins back on Perez anytime soon because obviously he's getting them points. But I also don't see the turmoil with Verstappen lasting the whole season either. I think this is just a product of the new car right now. They're still trying to learn some stuff. I mean, it took McLaren now till this race to even be a factor, and they got both of them in 5th and 6th at Australia. So,
if Perez doesn't have any DNFs though, and Verstappen, you're going off of these 2, it's you're really, that's gonna hurt you come the end of the season.
I don't know. I see to an extent it will, but I don't know if Max would leave though. I think the only way he would leave is if it would be like for Ferrari or Mercedes, and if Ferrari goes out and let's say Leclerc does win the championship, and for how good Sainz has done other than this Australia here, do they really want to break up that combination? So I think to answer your question, will it last all year of what's going on with Red Bull? No. Do I think Perez is going to be the number 2 driver again? Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think it's going to take a little bit, and I don't think Verstappen would leave at the end of the year, even if this happens. I think this is just a fluke for them right now because it's nothing that they can really control on what's happening with him. Right,
and well, I mean, you could make your stuff a little better so it stops failing. You right now, I think that's a big part of their woes. They've claimed these 2 to be fuel issues, but it's your power unit at this point. Yes, it's a Honda, but it's Red Bull Racing. It's your power unit at this point through this season, I believe next. So, man, it could be your fault. So, do you want to sit here, and especially if these woes continue? Do you want to sit here and I see you, Bryson? I see you. Do you want to sit here and continue to go through some of these woes? But it's all kind of a what if at this point because it's only 2 out of 3 races. He could be done with it now and really make his charge. So it'll be interesting to see. Mercedes then, on the other hand, 3rd and 4th place. So starting to show that they're making some improvements on that car. Wolf says that they're definitely coming out of the weekend better than they came in. So I think we're starting to see that momentum pick up, but I don't think that's going to be a top car all year. I think that's going to be they're going to be battling for I do think they are going to battle for constructors. I think we're going to see a solid battle for constructors, honestly, between Ferrari, between Mercedes, and man, I don't know if Red Bull's going to be up there. I can't say Red Bull's going to be up there because of their issues with reliability.
I mean, they have a 31-point gap between them and McLaren right now. So,
I don't think I'm too worried about McLaren overall as a team this year. I think really Mercedes and Ferrari are going to be fighting. The only reason I say that, for some reason, And I don't know if I'm just completely overthinking this one or not, but it seems like Carlos Sainz is driving with something to prove. He's driving now with a little pressure even. So I'm kind of wondering like what's going on there, because it looked like he was just over driving the heck out of that car.
Yeah.
Whether I don't know if it's just because he got stacked back farther and he was trying to get back up to the front and help Charles out, or that he knew he had the car that his teammate did to get up there and do that good, or what it was. But you see Leclerc really taking a handle of this car. It's really fun to watch. I think he's a good guy for the sport. He's one that doesn't complain often, and that's one that you see, at least not yet. I think Verstappen and Hamilton last year, they kind of both got the rap for kind of being the typical F1, typical crybaby, if you will. But now Leclerc's here in this, and that's what's fun too, is when they get down to it, Max and Charles. They've been racing each other since they were very young in karts.
Yeah.
So these guys know each other's style. I don't think you're going to see a Monza incident between these two because of that. Last year, Verstappen and Hamilton, that was the first time that they really went toe to toe. That was the first time that these guys were going side by side in a lot of these races and really battling it out. And I think they were learning each other. Then now their driving styles don't match to go side by side. But I think you might see an incident here or there with Max and Charles. Eventually, they're going to come together. I do think if you get this good of racing like we've seen, the Australian GP being a little exceptional. I don't know what fire was lit under his rear end to get him that far out ahead, but to see that is, I think people thought last year was fun. If Max can get this going, if he can get that up, I think we're set for a really good year here. And I just get more and more excited throughout the season, especially early on, because you just don't know. There's so many uncertainties. I thought Alonso was going to hit a pole, and then he ends up finishing like 14th place after these tires can't figure the tires out. The hards seem to work better than the mediums here. So I think that's a big thing too with these 18-inch wheels. These guys really trying to get used to them.
So I think we have what? Let's look in here. We have 4 races till Monaco. So we have Italy, Miami, Spain, and then it's Monaco. I think if in that stretch we see Ferrari pull away and we see like Red Bull continue with their struggles, I think we're gonna sit here and say Ferrari's probably going to be the top team this year, but these next 4 weeks are going to be big for Formula One in general. I think across the board, not just for Red Bull and Ferrari, but across the entire sport. Because we get introduced to the new track there in Miami. I think that's going to be a game changer. And some of these tracks that are coming up are very technical, like Monaco, and even Italy can be very technical. So these next 4 weeks are going to be big for the sport. So if you haven't watched any F1 races, these next 4 weeks are going to be some of the best ones to watch. I mean, we kind of talked about it. Australia was going to be a game changer because you had the 4 DRS zones and it was fast. And I think
they took one of the DRS zones out though.
Yeah, and but it was fast. The track was fast. I think a lot of guys were just over driving with the new car. I'm not too concerned. 3 races in. I think Leclerc's showing that he's really good. Finally. It's great to see. But these next 4 weeks are going to be the big one because it's a lot of technical tracks over the next 4 weeks. And after that, I think that's when we can really open up the look and see how good F1 is this year. And we can probably talk about, or we can see if it's really a struggle for Red Bull. Is it really a struggle for Aston Martin? Is it really a struggle for this, or is this really how the season's going right now?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I agree with you. I think 4 weeks, these next 4 races are going to be a good one to really gauge the season on. So, anything else you want to add to F1?
Other than no more 1 a.m. start times, please.
I think that's the last one. I think that's the only one in there. So I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was that bad. But I think it's better than a 1 p.m. because that just really throws me off when F1's early in the afternoon for me.
I mean, it's a little rough when you want to come home and go to bed after a long night at the races, being cold, and then it's on, but it's like it's a background noise. Am I going to make it through? Yeah, no, didn't make it.
I did fall asleep during Q3, but I was able to hold out for the entire race. It was a good one. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in here today. Checkers and Wreckers. We're Tuesday now. Now the races are over. It's time to make it your way to the bases, Matt. Tell them again. Sunday, what you got going on?
Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Baseball boys are back. Just a bit outside. If you don't know the reference, you haven't watched a major league movie in your life. Baseball talk with myself, my two friends, Tim and John. Great show. I'm not saying that because of our network, because our network is awesome. Our supporters are awesome, but a lot of great discussion. You might learn a thing or two if you don't know anything about baseball. So check us out, 11 a.m. Check out all the rest of our partners and our shows and Checkers and Wreckers every week.
Absolutely. www.bwsports1.com. Check us out. And until the next time, we will see you later.